Hi, this is Dr. Nick. I'm the Incrementalist here with Craig Joseph, and we're here at the AMDIS conference. We're here live, real, in person, no green screen, no Photoshop going on.
Is this really happening?
I think so. Look, there's my hand, although I could do that with some kind of Photoshop.
Wow, so it's not a dream.
It's not a dream, thankfully. We're very grateful to be here. We thought we'd just cover off a little bit of the topics. Let's start with cybersecurity. That's sort of a hot topic right now. We had Christian Dameff talking about how to mitigate. What did you hear?
Well, I heard, number one, that I need to be best friends with our CISO, the Chief Information Security Officer. I also heard something that was surprising. Some of the folks at hospitals that are responsible for dealing with emergencies such as the power goes out or there's a flood, they are not working with the cyber folks, with the IT folks. And to try to make sure that those two were together, lockstep, was something that was an eye-opener for me.
Smart moves, work with your EM folks. But the other thing I heard in that presentation was, guess what? If you're not fed up with all of the security protocols, you're going to be, because it's just going to get worse as the hackers and the attack surface has just increased. So
yeah, the tools are out there for people to do bad things, and it doesn't take a lot of brain power to do that. And so it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Right. And we talked about digital health investment. There's a big wash of money coming over from Scott Weingarten. He talked about lots of investment, but maybe it's not all plain sailing, right?
Well, first of all, hospitals and startups sometimes don't go together. Their cultures are very different, and things that really seem like they're magical during the pandemic, now as the pandemic is easing down, may not be so magical. And so some of those swans and
you're thinking
darlings,
black swans right there, right?
Some of those white swans might be black swans, and some of the darlings of Silicon Valley might turn out not to be so valuable when we get back to our normal lives, whatever our normal lives are.
Right. So lots of money coming into digital health. That's all been good, but the reality is going to hit, and we're going to have to really work hard to assess what's actually useful and then put that into practice. What about Mickey Tripathi? He showed up, right?
So the ONC director was here virtually.
Yes.
Still not allowed to travel apparently, but said some good things. Really, what I heard most stood out to me was the demand really for apps to be able to work with any electronic health record or any source of data. So really being app agnostic. And so that's how you're going to get the discrete information out that you're going to need to do crazy cool things that all of these small startups that are working with hospitals are trying to do.
And I got to say, call out to Mickey Tripathi. He did a really good job virtually. I was very impressed. I thought he was really engaged. We actually had a good Q&A session. It was a dynamic experience, and he talked, although he didn't use the term, knowledge liquidity, as making the information available as widely as possible, which for me, that's a big deal.
Yeah, knowledge liquidity as well is something that is going to be happening more and more. Much like people have always had the dream, hey, why can't our electronic health records work just like ATMs can? I can go anywhere with my card. It's obviously much more complicated than that, but that's the goal. That's where we're going. And so no matter how the information gets in, be able to get it out and transfer it to a different place is the dream, and that's what ONC is trying to make it work via regulation and a gentle nudge.
Right. And we've had some TEDx talks, so it was nice to actually see that in person. Lots of innovation coming and people sort of demonstrating huge increase in telehealth. I think there's lots of data to come out of that, what's going to wash out. Anything else stood out to you?
No, I think it's the telehealth was the I think the biggest thing that I've seen, and there was some information that it might be leveling off, and telehealth is not the fix for everything, of course, and not all doctor's appointments can be done virtually, but for the ones that can, it seems to be getting easier and easier with more tools for both the patient and the physician.
Right, and I think the one thing I heard was mental health and the mental health crisis potentially going to be helped with good solutions that sort of account for inability to access that technology from a telehealth perspective. I think incredibly important. We're seeing it as a crisis I saw headlines today that said one institution is calling the suicide in young adults a major crisis.
It was Children's Colorado, and I think they said the majority of patients that were coming to their emergency room were for suicidal ideation and suicide attempts. And so obviously making it easier to get to those professionals who can help via whatever technology is out there is going to be essential, and we're going to need to continue doing it.
Right. Well, it's been fantastic. It's just a true privilege to be here, both IRL and at a conference and interacting with people. This isn't the first time we've met, but it feels like it in some respects.
It does. Vaccines work, and I'm very happy to be out in the world again.
This is Dr. Nick. I'm here with Craig Joseph at the AMDIS conference reporting in. Thanks.